Navigating today's real estate market can be tricky. Want to buy or sell a house, finance or insure a house, or stuck with a house and don't know what to do? Florida Talk Real Estate has been your local one-stop real estate shop since 2012. Get the advice you need from your local real estate pros. Here are your hosts, Jim DePola and Johnny C. live on Real Radio.
Yeah, that's right. We are live on a Saturday morning. 2 hours of infotainment is what we offer you up, and thanks for being there to receive on this Saturday morning. Whether you're on the old radio there, 92.1, 101.7, we salute you. And, of course, we live stream every Saturday morning as well. A couple of places you can join us on that live stream. Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook. Live stream is up and running. Find Florida Talk Real Estate on YouTube as well. That's Florida Talk Real Estate, LLC. Home of a ton of informational chunk videos and a live stream on a Saturday morning. I'm your boy, Johnny C., your air traffic control. Of course, you got a toll-free number, 877-927-6969. Should you care to be a part of the program? Questions, comments, concerns on the world of real estate? Hit it up. The first voice you'll hear, the melodious tones of our producer extraordinaire, Jimothy. My brother, how you be?
Very good. Good morning, gentlemen. Always a pleasure to be here with you.
Nice to see you, my friend,
Good
as
to see you
always.
too.
Even though it's a little yucky out there today. You did promise assless chaps today in our little chat. And I know this is tough right out the gates, but I noticed is it the weather that kept you from the chaps?
No, there's a cover charge. So, Mike already blew right by it, right? So we'll get into that later. But,
all right.
Now it can be bought.
I guess I'm uncovering some things that I didn't realize we were going to get to today.
Uncovering.
No
key word there.
And did you research if they have full ass chaps?
I did not. No.
Those are just known as pants, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike did.
Oh,
all right, we'll get those
right.
details.
Thank
Let's
goodness
get
we got Mike here.
Let's get your starting lineup, y'all. We do have Mike here. You'll hear very soon. Ross Komarinetz is with us, first and foremost. He's with Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach, looking all sharp on a Saturday.
That's right. Got all dressed up.
Look at you. Going to the
I didn't shave.
Well, it ties the 5 o'clock ties in the tux.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
If people
No shave,
tux.
no haircut, no cover charge.
Sharp.
That's right.
Sharp. Yes, tux. If you don't believe me, you better join us on our live stream, either Facebook or YouTube. There's Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm, doing research on full ass chaps.
Yeah, I'd never pondered the question, Johnny. So when you I said, you know what? Let me. I just went in and I didn't look up assless chaps. I just looked up chaps, and they're all assless.
So I've always said assless chaps.
Yeah,
Jimothy as well. When I read it, it felt redundant.
Yeah, you're right, and it turns out you're right.
Okay.
Now,
chaps
if you
are
want,
chaps, and they are naturally all assless.
They do have,
Good to know.
you can buy full leather pants. I think would be the closest thing to a
full pants.
Assed chap.
The thing I love about Jimothy in the chaps is it makes the perfect cut for the buttocks. It really does.
Yeah. So you were right, and I looked it up.
So they're known as pants.
Yeah, I didn't spend like more than 2 hours looking it up.
I get it. Yeah.
This is one of those information.
You didn't go down like a YouTube rabbit hole
that'd be crazy.
This is going to be one of those informational chunk videos.
Sure.
You can get at floridatalkrealestate.com.
I'm sure that the AI bots will have fun with this one.
Oh yeah. I'm sure at this point right now, our fearless leader is going, good. This is good. This is exactly what we hope for every Saturday.
Why did I hire these people?
Let's say good morning to our leader. 12 plus years now, I've told you he runs a top producing Keller Williams team. Keller Williams Innovations. You find the Florida Home Pros team. And my guy, Jimmy D. Jim DePola, how you be?
I cannot believe how much you guys know about ashless chaps. Since yesterday, when I was watching the texting go back and forth, I was just enjoying it and not responding to it. But I was like, how much do you guys know about this? I don't know anything.
And I think we're agreed now. We're just calling them chaps.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That's it.
Evolution.
So they were probably designed for when you're riding your horses so your legs didn't get raw, right? That's what the chaps are for, I'm guessing. So when the horses is sweating and stuff, it doesn't get on your legs. But then your butt is sitting on the saddle with no.
They go over your
reason.
pants to protect your
pants under them.
Protect your clothes against like thorn tears and
while you're riding the horses.
You use that when you're horseback riding, not like when you're walking around.
While you're riding the horse, like
they only wear them while they're riding the horse.
Through the brush.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. Okay.
The people that you see that wearing them around on a daily basis, just without the horse, is probably exclusive to that nightclub.
Yeah.
Well, there was Pride Fest just down in Lake Worth
Yeah.
last week or something, right? We missed all the. Maybe that's why you guys know so much about Assless.
You might have
Chaps.
seen
And
them
not a horse to be
riding
found.
The mechanical bull.
Well, I don't know.
Right?
Pretty
Johnny's
good.
looking uncomfortable.
Oh no, I'm as comfortable as it gets.
We're gonna get banned on
Uncomfortable.
this show, that's for sure.
Although
We're
I will
gonna
tell
be-
you, at that club, I walk in and I'm like, that's a pretty hefty cover charge, and I wish there was a bunch more things covered.
Johnny walks in and the whole crowd's like, Johnny.
Yeah. I just wish there was a lot more chaps with his lot.
Your
lot of
stool's
chaps
right
in
over
it.
here, buddy. Your stool's right over here. And take that how you want.
Yeah, appreciate
You want it upside down?
Hey,
Who
so
said that?
so we
Whoa, what? Echo?
so we have a lot to talk about today. The monthly market report came out. I'm ignoring all the Assless Chap stuff now. We're done.
It's time to move on.
We had
Fed.
we had the Fed come out on Wednesday about interest rates and what's going to happen in the future. Probably don't listen to the hubbub, listen to us, because we've been right way more than the national economists. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about the monthly market report came out. Now we're going to go in more detail next week when we get AJ Holman, the appraiser, to come in to go over stuff. AJ, actually, he's so wonky. I love AJ because he's all about numbers. AJ did an X-ray comp on 4 different types of communities in Palm Beach County.
What's an
Like a-
X-ray comp?
Well, it's, let me tell you the communities first. It's like a single family home community that's gated, one that's not gated, a 55 and over, and a townhome, or maybe a condo 55 and over. And then he went in and did his own analysis as opposed just to ripping it from the Florida Realtors Association to see if the numbers are really tracking the way that everybody's saying. So we're going to get into that next week, but there are some surprising stuff that's happening with these stats, and we're seeing a change in market, guys. Okay. And it's really going to affect the market in a lot of different ways. So if, this is where you're going to find out what's really going on down here in the local market. Check us out every week. On top of that, we're also going to be talking a little bit today about the National Association of Realtors settlement with the Department of Justice. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's so many moving parts right now, but big changes are on the way for sure. Monumental changes, but what we don't know is if it's going to be in July or not. Right now, everybody's thinking these changes are going to go into effect in July, but it's not sure yet because there's 3 judges, there's 3 settlements. People don't know this. Everybody heard about what happened last week, but there were 2 other settlements related to that lawsuit before last week. And now all 3 judges got to sign off on those settlements. Now, one of the judges did not. And we're going to get into that later. So what you're reading in the paper is what everybody thinks is going to happen, but isn't necessarily going to be what's really going to happen. So we're going to go into that a little bit today. I wanted to go into something I just thought was just so interesting, and it's not really real estate related, and I wanted to talk about it last week, but I just wanted to start this week. Would you lose any digits to watch the Miami Dolphins play football?
You give up a digit?
Yeah, would you give up a finger or a toe or maybe a piece of your nose to watch the Miami Dolphins in a football game?
Like in the Super Bowl?
Okay, let's use Super Bowl if you want to use Super Bowl. How
preseason.
about a
Preseason?
playoff to get you to the Super Bowl? Or how about a playoff to get you to the Super Bowl? Would you lose a digit? Because in Kansas City.
Well, I mean, so there's a difference between volunteering to lose the digit and then eventually losing a digit.
Well, if
right?
you knew that you were going to go to a football game and there was a chance that you were going to lose a digit, would you
would you
go,
still
what
go?
the heck, let's
No.
go.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm willing to risk that.
No.
Yeah.
I think I love the Dolphins. I got one of their helmets sitting on my autograph helmet from Ricky Williams sitting in my house.
Nice.
It says,
Smoke
you know what he
weed
signed
every
it? I
day.
love this. You know what Ricky Williams signed it?
Puff, puff, pass.
Oh, that would be pretty good. But this one I like even better. Smoking joints and scoring points. That's what it says on the thing. Ricky
Nice.
Williams, 34. Isn't that cool?
Oh, Ricky, just flaunting
I
it.
love that
Just
helmet.
flaunting it.
Yep,
Mhm.
smoking joints and scoring points. So the bottom line is Kansas City during the game leading up to the Super Bowl playoff game, the hospitals locally found dozens of patients that had frostbite, and they ended up losing digits because they stayed out too hard watching
that
the game.
Yeah,
I just
at
think
Arrowhead.
That's pretty crazy,
It
isn't
is
it?
crazy.
Wasn't there like a group of dudes who like died in the backyard watching the game?
Yeah, I don't know
And
what
there's, like, some
happened with
shady
that.
things
Yeah,
going
some
on
shady
around it, but,
stuff.
like,
Still don't know what
yeah.
happened with that.
Were they
That is
Dolphin
so
fans?
weird. I'm sorry, what?
Were they Dolphin fans?
I know, right? Yeah,
I
it's-
know Kansas
I'm
City.
thinking about
fans.
the guy. You
This
remember the
happened in
guy
Kansas City. Yeah.
in Buffalo who stayed up on the billboard.
Oh yeah, I remember,
Remember that back in
Yep.
the day?
Yeah.
He probably was at risk of frostbite at
Yep.
some point.
I would think.
But
Yeah.
anyway, I just thought that was pretty crazy that people, and apparently this is not an uncommon thing. I mean, it doesn't happen every year. But if they're playing in the playoffs, and I'm thinking, you're thinking frostbite, I'm thinking Green Bay Packers,
It was cold.
right?
That
I'm
game was
thinking
cold.
Green Bay.
Fourth
Yeah.
coldest, I think, in history.
Yeah,
Was it?
That game
If
was
I
cold.
remember right, yeah.
And there were
The
people
one-
without shirts on. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
one dude that lost some fingers, he got it just from the amount of time that he spent in tailgating, putting up one of those tents or, those canopy type things.
Mhm.
He took his gloves off so that he could do that. And just that short amount of time that he had his gloves off for that, at least that's the article that I read, he ended up getting frostbite. And I
Wow.
think he lost, I don't know, maybe part of a finger or something like that. But
Wow.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. We were reading on some of that.
Yeah,
and,
it's
some
crazy.
people
And
got
it was
some
negative.
frostbite.
That game was negative 27
Yep.
wind chill that they're talking about. I don't remember which game it was. It was at Arrowhead, and
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember which game. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. It
no,
It
was
was in
the
the
fourth
playoff.
coldest.
You're right. It was
said
a
fourth
playoff
coldest.
game this
Yep.
year. Yeah, that one up there. I didn't. The thing that jumped out at me about it was the fact that I don't think it was anybody that was like the typical knuckleheads that don't wear a shirt, right? Because that's what you
Mhm, you would think them.
automatically go to. Oh,
Yeah.
just some guy, that type of thing. But I don't think it was guys like that.
I wish more women would do that.
Yeah, really.
You want women to lose their digits?
No, just do the whole shirtless thing at the games.
Yeah.
They always get a bad rap for doing it.
Show some fanaticism every now and then.
Yeah. Problem is, it happens. You just cover it up so quick.
I wanted to give a shout out to Bill, Lucas, Marjorie, and I don't know how many other people. It was an estate sale in Fort Pierce. Johnny knows this community very well, the Colonnades.
Oh, yeah.
And we sold a unit, one floor down and 5 units over from Johnny's mom's house that we sold a couple years ago. I guess it was 2022 when we sold that house, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So the condo, we just closed on it. Thank you so much. It was kind of a crazy one because there were 5 people that owned the property. There were 5 Keller Williams agents. They were all Keller Williams agents from up north. And 3 of them were attorneys. So fun trying to negotiate all of that with 5 different agents because everybody wanted to put their little finger. Well, let's negotiate it this way. Why don't we try that? And it turned into one of those.
Did you
things.
have to have like Zoom meetings?
No,
for
thank
stuff like that?
God. Eventually, they decided that the youngest one out of the
Was
group
gonna
is
be
going
the
to be the
representative.
representative. So that kind of worked out okay. But congratulations on everybody. I'm glad that we closed it. It was a very interesting one. This is the second time in a year that this happened. This is a 55 over community. The person that ended up buying the house ended up negotiating with these sellers before I became the agent, and they were trying to sell it off market, and they couldn't come to terms. So the buyer walked and went to another community and bought something. And then 4 months later, she hated it. She absolutely hated where she lived. She had buyer's remorse. So by then they had listed me to sell the property. So she came back and turned in the offer. And then we went back and forth because she needed to sell her house. She had a contingency that she wanted to sell the unit she just bought before she bought ours.
Celebrate.
Well, the problem with that is when I did the comps, when she bought the house 4 months ago, she paid what the unit was worth. Then when she put it back on the market to buy our place, when she
wanted a profit,
she
or at least
wanted
a break even.
She wanted to break even, so she went 10% above what she paid for 4 months earlier. That's not going to happen. So we kept the house on the market, kept pushing her offer away, got another offer, looked like we were going to take that, and then she came back and dropped the contingency of selling her house. Or her condo. So that's why we closed on Friday. The whole thing took 3 weeks once we were in a contract. It was boom, boom, boom. So congratulations, bing, bang, boom.
Bang, bing, bing.
And congratulations on that. And thank you for trusting us, the Keller Williams Group, to sell your property, and looking forward to the future for you guys. Short-term vacation, Airbnbs. Okay. There was a regulation passed about 2 weeks ago, and I was a little lax in trying to get up on top of this.
I remember this is in Florida.
Yes, it's a Florida Airbnb law, and the reason why I'm bringing it up, Airbnb is so popular down here. So it doesn't look like the regulations are that strict right now, but what the ordinance does, it makes everybody that is running an Airbnb to let the government agencies know that they're operating an Airbnb. So you have to let the government know, which means that you're going to be paying the taxes you're supposed to pay because you're supposed to pay a bed tax and some other stuff. It isn't a lot of teeth in it yet, but I feel like they just set the foundation with this regulation, and that they're going to be adding on regulations to this Airbnb thing in the future.
And again, I'm assume is the tough word here. I always just assumed that when you latched on with Airbnb or a company they would report all of their transaction. Like I just assumed that was all done through the company. And again, I'm using the assume word. This is the way you're painting this picture. That wasn't the case. It was always the homeowner's responsibility to report any income on that home and taxes. And now it's really going to be their
As
issue?
I understand it, Airbnb does not pay any kind of fees or regulatory costs for the landlord, if you will, or the person that owns the
I wouldn't
place
assume
that's
they paid
running
any of their costs, but I would assume they reported hey, here's everybody we use.
Oh, no.
I just
No,
again
that-
assume.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah. So it's been a laissez-faire thing. Airbnb, since they created the concept, it's been, that's why at the beginning when Airbnb started, people complained about the crazy parties and all the stuff that was going on, and neighbors were going nuts.
Yeah.
So they're trying to regulate it somewhat. What this means, though, is there's going to be some Airbnbers that either are not going to be allowed to do it anymore, or the regulations are going to be too onerous for them to move forward. So if you have an Airbnb and you got a fork and you're sticking a fork in it, it's time to sell it. Give me a call. Love to talk to you.
FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, your one-stop real estate shop. That's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
And just make sure you comply with these new regulations, because if you don't, over time, you're probably going to get burned pretty bad. I'm sure a year or two from now, people that made a lot of money and never told the proper government agencies, they're going to come back and start going through their books. It's going to turn into a mess.
I see one here that one issue might be a problem for Johnny. It's you can limit only 2 people per bedroom.
Oh,
occupancy.
Well, that's
No
ridiculous.
thruples.
Yeah, no
No thruples.
3
or more.
Yeah, or more.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
There goes all my Airbnb plans. Yeah,
back to the Best Western.
exactly. Get that Hilton app back up, I guess. plug.
What's that place you used to rent by the hour?
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm gonna leave the name off here because I like to be able to get in there when I want.
Sunnyside Hotel.
I heard you could ask Robert Kraft for that kind of stuff if you're in Jupiter.
Wow, legend. Wow,
hey,
legend.
shots fired.
Hey, it's a
Legend.
Patriot. I could do that. I have nothing against you, Robert. Okay.
Take 'em down.
Thought it was kind of interesting also, Palm Beach County, it's trying to become the world's center for pickleball. I just think that's so funny.
Yeah.
I just
love
read about one community that's already been developed for a long time. They're investing, I don't remember which community it is, but I think it's in Palm Beach County. They're investing $800,000 to make an indoor pickleball court in their community.
It's
Awesome.
wild how
Or
that
pickleball
popularity,
courts, not just one court.
that popularity is a wildfire. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
and everybody's telling me I should play because they used to be really big into racquetball, right? Well, I shouldn't say really big. I won tournaments, but amateur, nothing serious.
Where are
But-
your trophies?
Huh?
Next to the Dolphins helmet?
I didn't keep those trophies. I kept all my riding awards, but those trophies disappeared, right? But I just think it's funny. Like Green Acres right now, they're trying to become the pickleball capital of the world, and one of the
They got some nice courts over there.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. And they're saying one of the commissioners is all excited. They approved plans for a 19-court complex in the city. And one of the commissioners very proudly said, "This makes us a destination." So, pickleball is very big across the country, but Florida is probably going to be the pickleball capital.
I've
Well,
got
we have,
reservations in the summer for a huge vacation out to Green Acres.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And there's so much. There's so
We'll
much
stay
to
for a
do
couple
out there.
weeks.
You have to
There's
book
so
that
much to
far
do.
out. Though,
You do.
at this
You
point,
do.
Yeah.
We have the world's biggest croquet facility,
I did not know that.
right here in our backyard. too.
Really?
I
Yeah.
used to go to a BNI there.
Did you?
Yeah, the BNI met there.
Right.
Yeah.
So they have their own facility.
It's like the world's biggest.
Wow,
It's like a
that's
big
so wild.
clubhouse.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like going to a golf course.
Really?
It's-
Except out back, it's like just, huge fields of croquet.
And
Yeah.
and it's completely empty, right? There's nobody there.
No,
Oh,
it's
is there-
palatial. It's
Come
No,
on.
man,
Are
you'd
there
see
big-
people there.
Is it
Everybody's wearing white.
Come on.
I
Seriously.
swear.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
We still have
I
that,
love Florida.
that big empty highlight building down the
Oh,
street, right?
Still do. Yes.
Yeah.
That's close to here, isn't it?
It should be where
Yeah, it's right-
where Marlins Park is.
like a
we're
block
gonna
away.
really play semantics here. That's probably what should be there right now versus
Yeah.
an empty highlight.
Yeah.
Doesn't Don King own that?
I did. I don't know about does, but
Okay.
did. I
Yeah,
think
for a
you're
while.
right. Yeah.
What about Don King?
He used to own that highlight building.
Oh, I didn't
Or
know
maybe
that.
still does.
Yeah.
Is he alive?
I didn't know that. I think
Don
he's
King's
still
alive,
alive.
right?
Is he?
Yeah. I
He's alive.
still think he
Yeah.
lives in Delray.
I think Don King's alive.
Yeah, I think he still lives in Delray over there. Let me see. Okay, so let's get into a little bit about what's happening in the market. So let's start off with the inflation, which I wanted to talk about last week, but I didn't. So the inflation report, the last inflation report did not come out as well as everybody was hoping. The theory is we're trying to get to this 2% inflation rate. And we've been stuck in the threes now for several months, and they keep waiting for it to go down. But actually, it hasn't. It's been very sticky. It's not really going up much, but it's just sticking in the threes. It's just we're stuck in the threes, and they want to keep pushing it down to the twos, and it hasn't happened yet. Part of it is that the employment has been very strong. We had another strong employment report. Anybody that wants to work, they can get a job. Might not be the job they want, but there's jobs out there for people if they want it. So because of that, the Fed came out this week, and as I predicted back in November, December, they didn't do anything this week. They've kept everything flat. We're at the 5.25% Fed interest rate. They started from zero back in the day about 18 months ago or so, and they brought it all the way up to 5.25, and they've held tight. And they say now there's some good news and some iffy news in the report that Jerome Powell just came out, the Fed Reserve Chairman. The good news is that they say they don't expect to increase the rates anymore. They think the 5.25 is definitely going to, I shouldn't say definitely, but they're really planning on that being the ceiling.
Yeah.
They are saying very confidently, we're not expecting to jack up the rates. But as far as bringing the rates back, to reduce the Fed Reserve rates, that's not happening for a while.
It's not appropriate at this time.
Yeah, that's exactly what you sound like Jerome Powell. You did it exactly like he said.
It's not appropriate at this time.
So the thing is that of course it's not appropriate, guys. Think about this. Okay, we're trying to get 2% inflation. Everybody wants us to reduce the interest rates so that we have more room on our credit cards, better ways to buy cars, better interest rates for homes. But if you did do that, what's going to happen? It's going to juice up the economy and overheat the economy again, and then the inflation's going to go up. So we're stuck. This is why I said at the beginning of the year and at the end of last year that it's going to be a very up and down market. It's going to be very churlish, a lot of things going on. It's never just going to be a smooth ride where you can easily see what's happening in the future. It's like, I don't know what's around the corner. It could go this way, it could go that way. That's where we are. So the Fed, hold on one second, guys. My computer's about to die.
Good chance for me to tell you Florida Talk Real Estate is a .com. We call it your one-stop real estate shop for a reason. This is a team of pros. You get them all at floridatalkrealestate.com. Remember, know it, use it, love it, share it. You got a hotline as well. You can call that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's 888-973-7828. That hotline you'll find at floridatalkrealestate.com. And remember the socials as well. That's Facebook and on YouTube, Florida Talk Real Estate, where we live stream every Saturday as well. 2 hours of infotainment while we're on the radio, live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. In fact, Jim's dealing with his computer right now. Keep it going.
Keep it going.
How much more am I supposed to be saying about
Jimmy,
Florida
Jimmy
Talk
is
Real
in
Estate?
By the way,
panic.
call
He's in panic mode right now.
877-927-6969. You got a question for any one of these pros right here? How's that, Johnny?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, what the hell are you doing, Jim? There's my question.
We can go back to talking about chaps.
Charging. It was almost died for the Facebook stream.
What?
My computer almost died for the Facebook stream, and it's because it wasn't plugged in the wall.
Oh, well, that'll do it.
So are you good now?
Guys. Yeah, we're good now. Okay.
Crisis averted.
Almost lost the stream.
Okay, what were you saying?
So what we were saying is the race with the Fed. The Fed is saying that, look, we want to drop the rates. We're planning on dropping the rates this year, but it's going to be later down the line. I really think it's going to be September. I didn't look at all the meetings that are scheduled for this year, but I'm thinking September is where, if we see the drop in inflation like they're hoping, September is where we might start seeing some reprieve. In my opinion, that isn't what normal people are saying. So, you could laugh at me later or say, wow, you really know what you're doing. And I don't know the answer to that, but my bet is we're not going to see interest rates drop. Not this summer. I don't think it's going to be this summer. I think it's going to be the fall, is my opinion.
Well, but you also, the headlines coming off of that meeting were that they're still planning on dropping at 0.75 of a point. So 3.25 increments. So you're saying they're going to do that like October, November, December?
Yeah. If the inflation, we did that during the increases. We did it during the increases. We had rate increase after rate increase after rate increase without a gap. I think there were 11 straight.
I guess
without
it'll be
a gap.
Just in time for
holidays,
for holiday spending.
That's it.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So anybody thinking that the interest rates are going to have any kind of real movement in the positive way for buyers, I'm not really seeing that happening, guys, right now. It could happen, but I'm not seeing it. And I really think, just like I said before, we're going to be between 6.25 and, under 7, 6.75 is where we're going to be where we're going to be for the next 6 months.
I remember that as my prediction. I think your prediction was lower than that. I
actually thought we might go at the beginning of the year. I thought that by the end of the year, we might be in the high 5s, but now I don't think so.
I think if I go back, I think you said high 5s, and Jimmy, you were in that boat too.
Feel about right.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, it's always so when all the words matter, especially when there's not much being said, right?
Yeah.
So these are the moments where you're like, oh, they're just throwing out all kinds of feel good for all the speculators, right? So the markets, the future. What happened on the heels of Powell's speech?
Yeah. Record
new construction numbers went up as far as investing for some of the bigger builders.
Okay.
Their numbers went up. It was weird to see what the speculators went, oh, okay, this is where the movement's going to be. I guess they're thinking, at least some of the investors thinking, new construction is going to really start popping here.
New construction is actually increasing finally. The builders are finally
building.
Yeah, they're actually doing what they're supposed to do. We're still so many units behind. So they have a lot to make up. So even though that they're increasing the housing starts, that's what the statistics are showing. Very strong housing starts is still behind where we need to be. So they're not going to be our savior to get out of the issues. But yeah, the builders are pretty optimistic about what's going to happen in the future.
Which means they think inventory and the resale is going to stay tight.
Yep.
Well,
that's you would think naturally if they got their B counter saying now's a good time to invest into our projects, whether that's land acquisitions or land development or just getting it ready, they got to be thinking that resale inventory is going to stay tight and they're going to have buyers.
Well, because as we've noted in the last months on this show, that Florida is not the only state really going through major property insurance issues. California, you're starting to read more and more. I'm sure once we, as we've said for 12 years.
Oh, I have good news on that front. So
as we said for 12 years, by the time you're reading it in the paper, it's been news, right? It's already, these are the things that we've talked about, and then it eventually hits. So you're starting to read more and more articles about California, like in Sonoma County areas where people are just buried under the they're not these companies are not willing to put the risk out in places where there were fires recently. They're like, we're just not doing it, making it like damn near impossible to renew. So these people are having a hard time selling their homes because nobody can buy it to get the. So there, as you see some of the bigger states where there's more population, where it's harder to get into a existing home because of other outside costs, right? Your insurance rates are tough enough. But they're now maxed out. Although I guess Ross is going to have good.
Well, so
what's your next option? Well, new construction, because at least the other costs are going to be lower.
That's right. That's right.
I talk about that all the time with our customers, especially customers that are getting up there in a little bit of years, because you're trying to avoid any of the shocks, the economic shocks, as you want to retire or whatever. So in order to try to control your costs, buying new construction, you can afford it in the long run as far as insurance purposes.
Yeah.
It's a very good bet for the long run.
Well, it sounds great. It's just where is it? Where do we do that?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Let's talk more about this insurance stuff on the flip side. Ross, I definitely want to talk to you. I have an article I saved, Johnny, where it says State Farm's pulling out of California. And going to talk a little about that, because like, we're not the only state. It's nice to see other states are not like we're all in the same boat kind of now.
Yeah.
So let's talk about on the flip side.
All right, let's do that. It's a 4-minute reset. We get back at it. A lot of information to still get at you on a Saturday. And of course, you're more than welcome to be a part of the program. Questions, comments, concerns, dial it up. Toll free 877-927-6969. Jimothy will line you up. We'll get you on the air with your questions, comments, concerns. Of course, if you're not comfortable on the radio, I totally understand. Remember, Florida Talk Real Estate is a .com. Your one-stop real estate shop, that is FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Pros, you get them all at your one-stop shop, FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. We're back in 4 minutes. Great to have you with us every Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate right here on Real Radio.
Got something to say?
I got something to say.
Text us at 47142. Start your message with Real Radio. Standard data and message rates apply, and don't text while driving. Real Radio weather.
From the Gordon & Partners Weather Center. Have you been injured in a motor vehicle accident? Call 561-333-3333 or go to fortheinjured.com.
I'm CBS 12 meteorologist Charlotte Carl. It is breezy as you step outside the door today. Also keep in mind those roads are still wet. We have an isolated chance for flooding throughout the area today as that front rolls through around midday. Temperatures still on the rise, forecasted to top out in the low 80s. Much more comfortable tomorrow with highs in the mid 70s.
This report is sponsored by Discover. If you like using debit over credit, shouldn't you also get rewarded? Well, now you can with Discover Cashback Debit. It's a checking account that rewards everyone with cash back on everyday purchases with no fees, period. Check out eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashbackdebit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Komarinetz, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
This is Real Radio 92.1 and 101.7. Real talk for the Palm Beaches and the Treasure Coast. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
Yep, 877-927-6969. That's that toll-free number. You want to jump on the air with us? Questions, comments, concerns in the world of real estate? Want to get involved with the conversation at hand? Yeah, dial it up. Jimothy will pick up that line. He'll get you going, I assume. Won't you, Jimothy?
Absolutely.
Oh, perfect. I'm so glad that at least what I assume is going to come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
But
bad word, but we can still use it there.
You're more than welcome to dial in. Of course, always remember floridatalkrealestate.com. That's your one-stop real estate shop. Jimothy, our producer, Extraordinaire. Johnny C, well, that's me, air traffic control. Ross Komarinetz is with us on this Saturday morning. Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. What's up, Ross?
Juno, that's right, man.
Good to see you as always. If you want to see Ross in his tux, join us on our live streams, either Facebook or YouTube, Florida Talk Real Estate.
Wait a second.
What?
Ross? Oh, yeah, there you are. I thought Ross wasn't on the screen. Sorry about that.
He's the guy in the tux.
Yeah, he's the one in the tux.
Hot Ross.
Look at that. The ladies love the tux.
Can't miss.
Wait, is that the old drop?
No.
Oh, yeah, that's the new drop. Okay.
Hot Ross.
Sorry, Ross. Mike made me play that.
Did you have to retire the old drop?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
Can we do a comp? Do you have the old one?
The old one?
Yeah.
So insurance. Looks like it turned a corner.
We got Mike Brown, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm right here.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, Ross. Of all the people, all of us, would you have guessed that Ross owned the tuxedo shirt?
For sure.
I think I would have guessed that.
I
too.
would have guessed that.
Yeah,
too.
For sure.
Yep.
How long have you had that, Ross?
I'm going to say 15 years.
Nice.
He's just making it up. Just
No,
to satisfy
It
Mike.
does look vintage.
Just satisfy Mike. It's like
Nope,
whatever.
15.
22 years, 1 month, 3 days. There it goes.
It's Jimmy
So-
D, Joe DePolo with the Florida Home Pros team, Keller Williams Innovations. What's up, Jimmy D?
Hey, man. While Jimmy's trying to look for the old hot Ross.
I don't have the old one.
You
I
don't
think
have the
I
old-
recorded over it. Yeah.
It got retired.
That's
Wow.
okay. Ross is
Yeah.
very happy. Before we get into what's happening in Florida, I had read an article last night that I thought was kind of interesting. That was
What happened?
my computer died.
Oh, no.
Oh my god. Okay, no big deal.
No,
just
yeah,
gonna-
we're still on the radio.
Yeah, I wonder if I think I could turn it back on again, but we'll deal with it. Okay, so now I can't read any of the articles.
Well, it's
that
all
I-
right, but you read
Okay,
it last night.
So State Farm, I do memorize this. State Farm is
Grab your
pulling
mic.
out.
Grab your mic. Pull it. Hey,
Oh, I'm sorry. State Farm is trying to basically reduce what do you call it? Reduce your exposure or risk in California by reducing 72,000 policies in California. That would be about 2% of the total insurance market. I don't know if it's for State Farm or for the whole state of California. I'm assuming 72,000 policies is not 2% of California's insurance stuff, probably, I'm guessing. But anyway, they're having the same problems that we're having. And what is the biggest issue for California? It wasn't fraud, right, Ross? I don't think it was fraud. I think it was just the natural disasters that are happening out there, and they don't want to have that exposure anymore. The insurance companies.
I got a tough enough time keeping up with driving our insurance rates. I can't really pay attention to the other 49
You're supposed to be
states.
national. You're nationwide, dude.
No.
California
So-
has something like 15 million housing units, it says. Now, that probably includes
Yeah.
apartments and stuff.
Yeah.
But so it's not 2%.
Yeah, it can't be 2% of the whole state.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the residents out there are going through what Florida's been going through for a very, very long time. They've done a lot of regulations down here in order to fix things. It seems like things are getting a little better statistically, but we're still going through pain. But Ross, you said that there might be some good news that maybe I missed.
Yeah, I mean, they just came out with
Not
an
for
article. In Florida, in the Insurance Journal, which, so in 2023, even though it's still, we have all the companies reported a net underwriting loss. So they lost 190 million total, but compared to 1.8 billion the year before.
That's only 10% of the what it was before. So that's pretty good.
It's pretty good. And there was, I think, one or two companies that actually had a profit this year.
Okay.
In 2023. So it looks like just the second half of the year,
Things
because
have
of
been
that
picking
law.
up.
Yeah. Things have,
Because of the litigation restrictions.
correct. Yeah. And what I think there's a number in there about the direct incurred defense expenses fell to 739 million, down from 1.6 billion the year before.
That's
So
great.
that's awesome. So
Yeah.
we're actually seeing changes.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's going to be so nice. Probably another year from now, maybe 18 months, we're going to be talking about how people can reduce their mortgage payment by getting insurance discounts. Like we went through that cycle that one time. That was so much fun. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
cycle.
I
It
love
was so
saving
cool.
money.
People would call up. I don't like my insurance plan. And Ross is like, hey, do you want to save $2,000 a year? Remember one person? I think we saved like $5,000.
It's like $6,000.
Year.
$6,000.
Yeah, we saved $5,000, $500 a month.
Wow.
Back then,
When
just for picking up the phone and listening to our show and saying, hey, I want to find out if I can get a reduction insurance, and then getting $500 a month savings. Is that crazy?
Remarkable. Yeah.
So I can't wait till we get to that phase. I'm so tired of this phase. I want to get to
Yeah,
that
me
phase
too.
again.
I was at a real estate, like a lunch and learn type thing.
Mhm.
And there was an insurance guy, and he stood up. It was like everyone, all the professional reps got a chance to talk for a couple minutes, and he stood up and he's like, all right, guys, well, for starters, the insurance industry in Florida is getting better. And then he got a standing ovation at that point and basically sat down.
Yeah,
Like
and then
that
he did a
he was
Costanza.
done, right?
He
He
goes,
was
I'm
done.
out.
That's all I
I'm
needed
out.
to
That's
say,
all I need.
right? No details, just getting better, getting better.
Yeah. So as we knew, we had to wait and kind of see how things are going to shake out. And as it's playing out, it's coming together kind of the way they anticipated. So that's a beautiful thing. And as you noted, like on the flip side of that coin, they were saying so much of our issues was litigation based, right? And trying to control that in Florida. On the flip side, is we do a comp to the other side, California. The article I was reading, again, just like, let me see what they're saying. It said for every dollar collected for insurance purposes, they were paying out $1.08 on claims. It's just not a business model that's going to sustain. It's
That's not going to work.
That's not going to work. Exactly. So the two ends of trying to control costs and payout in different means, I guess we end up with a couple of big monster storms.
We also didn't have a big storm this
Right.
year. That helps too. But
Yep.
I mean, just those litigation expenses kind of tell that story.
That is a telling.
Yeah, I'd be
story,
curious about like just total claims, like claims made. Do they have those stats? Something like, in 2023 there was this many claims, and in 2022 it was this. Because we didn't have a storm in 2022. We did actually. We
So you would think that
there's some on the West Coast.
they're tied when the litigation dollars drop so dramatically.
You
as
would think
Ross noted.
claims would
think
go
claims
down.
Would too, right? I mean,
Maybe.
It'd be
Well, I mean, you can still file the claim. You
Yeah.
can always, you can
Oh,
file
you
the
want-
claim,
Okay.
but do you pay the claim, right?
Good point.
So
Anybody can take a
Take
reservation.
the claim.
Anybody can take the reservation. It's completing the reservation. That's the part. That's the most important part of making the appointment. Johnny's, close your ears and go la 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 la. Okay, so La Nina's coming.
Oh,
Not a good thing.
hope she
We
brings
haven't had a
chocolate.
La Nina for several years.
Beer.
La Nina, in case people are wondering, means that the water is going to get warmer on the east coast of the United States. It also means that the wind shear that El Nino gives, which chops the head off the hurricane.
Those upper levels.
Yes, I used to be a reporter, chop the head off the hurricane, right? That's my technical
We just got kicked off of
analysis.
YouTube.
Yeah, there you go. So what's going to happen is La Nina is more likely for much stronger hurricane activity, possible more powerful storms. So what we have to pray for is that there's a lot of dust coming from Africa.
Oh, yeah.
Because if the dust winds come from Africa, that will work like a shear like El Nino. So let's just hope that La Nina doesn't kick the East Coast butt this year, because we're just climbing out of the hole right now as we're talking about it with Ross. So hopefully
so
this year
what do
will
we
be
get?
an okay year.
You're saying it's increased hurricane activity, or is there other general weather stuff?
No,
that we can
so
expect?
La Nina. So in a La Nina, we normally have increased East Coast hurricane activity, and in El Nino we don't. And the reason why with El Nino, there's some kind of wind shear at the top,
Yeah.
and also the waters stay cooler.
Okay.
But now we're in a La Nina, and we haven't been one in several years. And the other thing that's interesting that I read in the Palm Beach Post is there's usually a gap between the El Nino and the La Nina where there's like a neutral time, but we're rolling right from an El Nino right into the La Nina without any break at all.
Do we get any
So we'll
benefits
see.
though? Forget about the increase. Is it like cooler summer? Is it less rain? Is it more rain? Anybody know?
I don't think
No?
I don't think I know any correlation.
I know how to combat it. Everybody in
Blow.
Florida goes to the beach and just goes,
Yeah, blow
and
it back. Blow it
blow
back. Yep,
It won't
that's
come.
what we need.
That's right.
That's
It
what
won't
we
come.
need.
We just got
It's
to
a
work
collective
together.
effort.
We got to work together.
Yeah. So far, it's been me and like 3 other people.
Just set up a fan.
I follow this one
Good call,
guy,
Mike.
and I have for a while because he's just entertaining. I kind of liken him to you know the movie The Great Outdoors, the guy that keeps
Mhm.
getting hit by lightning.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, kind of liken him to this guy in a weird way because he's just that quirky, but he's way into hurricanes and predictions, and that's the only reason I followed him for years.
Mhm.
He says when the La Nina hits, when we have the huge cicada release, it is massive hurricane year. And I was like, oh,
because we got the cicadas coming. That, what do they call it? The brood.
yep, the
They
brood.
call it the broods.
Yeah, he said when you get a La Nina on a year where you get one of those like anniversary years of cicadas, he's like, yeah, it's bad for hurricanes.
It's because of all their wing activity.
I'm guessing, yeah, some butterfly
Yep.
effect of some
Yep.
kind, yes. Yeah.
See?
But I was like, oh, that's good conspiracy right there.
Who is
That's-
this we're following?
I'll have to look the dude's name
Oh,
up.
okay.
I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, that whole thing. I'm still. Why do MacBooks, when they lose power and you plug them in, they don't turn on right away? They got to like charge up. Why can't they just turn on? Right? You're plugged into a computer, into a wall.
Right. You have
Did we
power.
verify that outlet works?
Don't even start.
Are you even plugged
Lights
in?
are on.
Yeah.
So the
Your
answer,
phone's
Jim,
plugged
is
in.
that your computer did not shut down properly, so it crashed. So it's got to go through some.
Oh my God, it's taking forever.
It's got to cycle through to reboot essentially.
All my
My,
show
my
prep-
phone is the same way. When the battery dies,
Yeah, same
I can
thing.
plug it in. It won't turn
won't
right back
turn
on.
on.
It has to charge because I believe that it works off the battery. It doesn't work off the plug.
I
right?
agree with you. I just
Mhm.
was wondering if Androids like that or PCs like that.
They are for
They
sure.
are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably,
Well,
it's
my,
probably
my
worse.
phone's an Android.
Probably worse.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
You should
I
read
thought maybe. Oh, maybe I'm coming back.
I'm
on.
not fancy enough to have an iPhone.
Android rocks.
Oh my gosh.
I think I
Okay.
just heard a Mac guy say that the PC might be better than the Mac at something. I'm shocked.
No, I
Mhm.
wanted
Shocked.
to find out. I would not switch over to PC. It's bad enough. I don't
Maybe
know
it's
how to
time
use
for
a
you to
Mac.
I mean, I don't even have a plug. Here I am. just freewheeling, no
Yeah,
plug,
fly
wireless.
along,
You know,
Beautiful.
And
And I'm
Windows
sitting here
for
hitting
you
the
right
button
there.
every 3 seconds.
and it's a personal computer.
Yeah.
Because I have no show prep. I have no show prep without this computer. Okay,
The
so
good news is the stream is still going. It's just me and Ross and Jimmy.
Yeah.
And La Nina's coming.
So Ross,
I think.
as you're going through, we're seeing some statewide statistics that are hopeful that what they were trying to accomplish is being accomplished, which is great. I'm very, very happy for that. I love that. But have you seen any changes in the day-to-day, like trying to get policies for people, or is it still pretty much the same that way?
I mean, it's still a pain, you know, like I was talking to a friend the other day, like it just used to be easy. Like you could call me and then half an hour later I could have an insurance policy for you. Now it's like things will take a week.
Does it
As
take
far as-
really?
Oh wow.
I mean,
I know
that's like
you're
worst case
exaggerating,
scenario.
but
right,
yeah,
you know,
but
like it, you know, whatever.
so what is the difference now? Like, why would it take
You
longer?
know, just sometimes like depending on the risk characteristic, you got to have the underwriter review something and then wait for them to get back to you. And if they come back and say, hey, I need this, then you got to get it from them and get it back to the underwriter and wait for the underwriter to review it. And then, you know, and a week can go by, you know.
Some of
And-
these places understaffed, possibly too, where it takes longer to get things done.
Yeah, or you know, it's just because of their guidelines, you know, whatever the staff they have is
pickier,
over, you know. It was fine until they, you know, have their guidelines, but you know, whatever. But we're starting to at least see where, you know, if you call me or, you know, even when we're shopping our current clients' policies as they come up for renewal, you know, we are seeing the ability to save money, you know, so that's good. You know, we're seeing more carriers kind of say, hey, we're open. Or hey, we've expanded our guidelines, or you know, just yeah. I mean, it's getting better. It's getting better.
More companies coming back in the area, more a little bit more that way, which is with the goal of that legislation.
Exactly. And I mean, you know, the next question, you know, all these new companies that are coming in. So far, nobody's writing anything. So no new companies are doing anything yet. So
They're just coming in just
Baby
to like
steps.
say we're about to get in the pool.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They haven't jumped in the pool. They're kind of just in the living room having a glass of lemonade, looking out the
They're
sliding
not-
glass door.
Okay. They're not even poolside yet.
No,
Give them
not
some
yet.
booze.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's still, and also like Ross, so in certain situations, certainly on purchase, like it's still mission critical to get accurate insurance numbers. And if you're like, if it takes several, I haven't run across that where it's like taking a week before we really know if we can get the policy. But I can imagine that being stressful on your side because you got people like me saying, "Hey Ross, where's our quote? Ross, is this a solid quote? Can we count on this?
I need this."
And I'm not used to having to ask that. I'm usually like, "Okay, here's a quote," and yeah, we roll with it.
Right.
I mean, we tried to be, you know, hey, based on the information that we have, this should be good.
Yeah.
Ours, I remember the one that we're talking about. Was a little different.
That was a special case scenario. Like very rare that I'm
Right.
having to go back. Like, Ross, can we actually do this? I
Yeah.
just assume that we can.
Yeah. But I mean, most of the time, we're going to give you, if you give us all of the information, we're going to have something that we're pretty confident, you know, like a 99.999% confidence that this is going to be, you know, there shouldn't be an issue, or if there is an issue, we try and say, hey, here's the numbers, but this is going to be an issue and it needs to be corrected. So, you know,
Yeah.
we point it out.
And we're also like, at least on our team in the habit of giving you as much as possible.
Right.
Win with 4 points.
Right. Yeah.
Bring
No,
it
I
on.
mean, yeah,
Bring it
I have
on.
everything. I can tell you, like, I've had somebody's like, hey, I need a builder's rip because something with the house, the roof. Like, well, the builder's rip is gonna be like 15 grand. I can get you a policy for like 5 grand if you can just send me a 4-point and I can tell you like if it's insurable or not. And for like 2 weeks, it's like, can you get, you know, how much is a builder's rip? Like, it's 15 grand. I get you something for 5. Just send me an inspection and I can tell you like, hey, it could be something small that you can have repaired before closing, you know, that we can roll with. So.
What builder's risk plan? It sounds really expensive, but this is like and all like last resort type
So
stuff.
no, it's for like, you know, like let's say you're buying a house and you're going to renovate it.
Okay.
You know, your traditional policy doesn't want you renovate. You know, it is in, you know, for 30 days it might give you a little bit of time to put in some flooring or something like, like renovations or putting on a new roof or something.
So it's something in place to appease Mike and the lender side, essentially.
Well, not in like Mike's case, but like this was a specific scenario where they are buying the home. They're doing an FHA
403K.
Correct, but they're putting on a new roof. Like that's what it's for. And I can get around putting on a new roof with Citizens. We got to sign a roofing contract. Obviously, you're putting on a new roof, so we can do it. But send me the 4-point because everything else might be okay.
Right.
I'm having a little issue with that one.
Well,
but, I mean, I'm here to help. Like I want to help you.
Trying to save you money. Trying to save you money. Yeah.
That's fine. But I don't want to.
Not if you don't have to.
No, prefer not to. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. You want to work with pros is a team of professionals. Get them all. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, your one-stop real estate shop.
Okay, Jimmy, if you want, we're not going to have the break at 10 because all the thing. I got the computer up and running so I could talk about what the show prep. Yay, great. Okay, so I don't know if Facebook and YouTube is running. I give up.
No, you're in.
You're in.
I see you. You're back in the live stream.
I don't know if is it actually live now.
It's according to my computer, it's been live the whole time. But maybe one of the fans, the fanatics who are watching us, can say whether it's been.
Yeah, that would be cool. Let us know if we're live or not. Now, interest rates, Mike. So I didn't expect this to happen, but we went up 0.13 last week for the Freddie Mac report. So we're back up to 6.87. I think that's almost the exact amount we were the week before. Like if you subtract the 1.3.
Yeah, we went down 0.14.
And then we went
back up
0.13. So we're still.
This is the topsy-turvy that you're talking about.
Exactly.
Which, for all intents and purposes, is no movement. There's no movement.
Exactly. Like the quarter point isn't make or break for most people unless you're at the upper limits of your price point. And we've been like basically. I was looking at this guy. So let me for buyers. Let me kind of show you on the Freddie Mac chart what happened. So November of actually it wasn't November. It was October 26th. I always thought it was November. And October 26th of last year, we hit 779. That's the high we've had since way back to I think 2000. We haven't been at 779. Yes, it's 2000. Okay, year 2000. I mean 2009. Yeah, so we haven't been at these interest rates for 20 years, right? For real. Now, the thing I found interesting is when we hit that peak in October of last year, we started going down like a rock, right? And we went all the way down to 6.67, right? Which was 6.61. I have a 6.61 on December 28th. So it took us from late October until it took us 2 months to get from 779 to 66. And then we stayed flat from December of last year until February. Okay. And then in February, we started scooting up a little bit and then going up and down, up and down, up and down.
I think February was when a little bit after Jerome Powell came out and said, probably nothing's happening early in 2024.
Yes.
And then people are like, oh.
Yeah. So what we're going to see is we're going to see these interest rates going up and down, and moving forward, but not going on a straight upward path or a straight downward path. It's like choppy waters is where we're going to be.
Yeah.
So as a buyer, you should not be worried about, in my opinion, you should not be worried about is the interest rate 6.37 this week or is it 6.54? It's not really going to make a big difference in your life on the mortgage payment. What you really have to worry about, can I find a house that I want, that I could afford, that I want to buy right now? And then with today's interest rates, and then I can always adjust the interest rates as the rates go down. The rates probably will go down. I don't know how much. I don't know if we'll ever see a 5 again.
Ever?
Yeah, I was just talking to somebody yesterday who
Ever?
Oh, maybe not. Think about it. Before COVID, Well, I guess we were in the high fives before COVID. Like 5.8, 5.9.
Yeah, maybe if we're talking like the next 10 years, you don't think rates would be refinanceable for people who were locking in at 7%? 6%?
I would think so.
In the next 10 years? A lot can happen.
It sure can. Yeah. Yeah, I would feel like that window of opportunity would come. Yes.
I would say so.
Maybe,
if you told me next 5 years, I would
maybe I'm
maybe
foolish
like
with
10 years.
but 10 years feels like a long enough runway. Yeah. I'm with you. If you said 5, I'd probably be like, nah, probably not.
Yeah, don't count on it.
Yeah. But it could happen in 5.
Sure.
We're going to have an event in order to get down to the fives, I think. I think we're going to have some kind of economic event, world event.
NAR lawsuit. That's the event.
Well, we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. We're going to talk about NAR and all this stuff.
We could spend the next hour talking about it.
Yeah, but we could, but we'd be blowing smoke out of our butt because nobody really knows what's going to happen yet. So that's what
kind of like predicting future interest rates.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So,
or La Nina.
So we're going to talk. Yeah, exactly. We're going to talk about that a little bit later about the NAR thing. A lot of people have questions on it. The reason why I haven't brought it up too much,
You've got questions? We don't have answers.
We don't have answers yet because nobody knows what's going on. But I will give a wrap up on it because I don't want anybody to think that we're dodging a touchy situation because we're not. We're just trying to figure out what's going on. But before we do that, here's. Oh, go ahead.
We're getting reports of an echo. Somebody probably need to mute somebody somewhere.
Thank you for whoever did that. Thank you so much. That's me. And
Tommy.
I just shut it off. Thank you, Tommy.
Sorry, once Jim does this a few times, he'll get the hang of it.
Yeah, he'll get the hang of it.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yes, thank you, dude. I appreciate it. Now, one of my things that I like talking about, everybody's talking about how everybody's moving to Florida, right? We're the #1 state for the most growth out of any state in the country, blah, 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 blah. It's all good. But what I'm more interested in is the demographic change that we're going through. I've been saying for quite a while now that what's happening is we are getting more people moving in than moving out, but the people who are moving in are wealthier than the people moving out. And it's the middle class that we're losing. We're gutting our middle class right now. I don't know how much of a gut it's going to be, but
I didn't even know the middle class existed anymore.
Yeah, well,
I thought it was gone already.
Yeah,
well, gone already.
Wait, where are you?
So there's
Johnny from the top of his spire on the ocean.
Middle.
So there was a local news station in Orlando that just looked at Central Florida, which I thought was interesting because a lot of people from South Florida are moving to Central Florida, right? Or they're moving out of state. But this was an article about where the Central Floridians are moving to. And I thought that was kind of interesting. So they think that the statistics they came up with was that over 270,000 people moved from Central Florida. And this is where they moved to. And they broke it down county by county, which I thought was kind of interesting. So let's take a look at this. In 170 of the 270,000 people that moved out of Central Florida just relocated to other parts of the state, and 100,000 moved to other states, if you will, right? So the top Central Florida counties that people left, 88,000 left Orange County, 35,000 left Seminole County, 35,000 left Polk County, 26,000 left Brevard County, and 22,000 left for Volusia County. Now in Brevard, the people who moved, of the 88,000 that left, of the 26,000 that left Brevard, 12,000 have moved to other parts of Florida. Where do they move? And I think this is interesting. Broward. They moved to Broward. They moved from Central Florida to Broward was the #1 area. #2 was Orange County, where a lot of people are leaving, and Hillsborough County. But 14,000 people moved outside of Brevard County. And where did they move? Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, Texas, and Arizona. Okay. Now in Flagler County, when they moved to North Carolina, Ohio, Georgia, Colorado, and South Carolina. Lake County moved to Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, Massachusetts.
Oh, they're going up to Massachusetts.
I had a family move to Massachusetts last year. The Doyens moved to Massachusetts last year because they were from there and they had family there and they got a better job and they moved up there. That's why they moved from Florida.
It's interesting in order for it to show up on this list, like how many people had to go to Massachusetts?
Right. Is it just one?
Yeah.
Only hundreds. We're only
Hundreds.
looking at hundreds of families that
Okay.
have moved. We're not looking at, well, like to give you an example, Lake County, 1,000 people from Lake County, Florida moved to Texas. All right. The next highest one is Georgia, and 817 families moved there.
Oh.
Okay. So we're not talking tens of thousands of people,
I
but
could
we're
probably-
just showing where everybody's
Yeah.
moving to.
I could probably live in any of those states you mentioned. I don't know about Mass. I mean, I'd like it, but it probably gets cold up there.
Yeah, Virginia,
Texas seems pretty cool.
Virginia get a little cool too, but I could totally live in Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love Virginia.
That'd be great.
My home state.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you could go back to Virginia. Virginia's only mentioned once in the counties, right? So everybody's moving to a little bit of different places. Wow, in Sumter County, in Sumter County, Florida, the number 3 state they're moving to is Kentucky. Who's like think that? I don't even think of Kentucky as a place to move to.
I'm curious about the Brevard
Is that
people.
bad?
When I think Brevard, I think like Melbourne and Cocoa, and like they're coming down to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Seems kind of weird.
Just doesn't feel like a move.
Or
I could see that
Broward.
going to North Carolina, like very
Yeah.
much going to that.
I could see him just staying put. Right?
Yeah, not a bad
Space
spot.
Coast.
Not a bad spot.
Totally.
But maybe it goes out west a little bit more than I think.
Yeah,
Brevard.
we're thinking more coastal.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe for jobs.
Yeah.
You're right over
I
here.
barely hear
If
you,
you're
Jimmy.
moving to a more congested area, more than likely you're going to do that for
job
pay, for pay,
finances.
right? You would
Yeah.
think.
So I wanted the monthly stats came out this week. We're going to go into more detail on it next week when AJ Holman comes, the appraiser, and go over things. But I do wanted to mention a couple things I thought were very surprising. Number one, the months of supply of inventory. Okay, so months of inventory means if no other properties go on the market, how long will it take based on the current sales volume to actually gobble up all the homes? In a normal market, it's 6 months, meaning it's not a seller's market, it's not a buyer's market, it's a neutral market. Anything under 6 months, it becomes a seller's market. The lower we go on that number, the more of a seller's market it is. And then anything over 6 months becomes a buyer market. Well,
we haven't seen 6 months since when, Jim?
oh, I'm going to look right now. That's a really good question.
But you said it's about the rate at which homes are selling based in the equation with the amount of homes on the market. Because I just feel like the rate of that they're selling is so slow right now.
Well, that's another number we're going to get
No, but
to.
if they're the longer they're taking to sell, the more months of inventory you would have.
As long as more keeps popping up, right?
Oh,
I
that's
guess so.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. So you assume that there's a steady rate of homes coming on the market, and then they're staying on longer. You get
Right.
more months of inventory. You'll
Yeah.
start building it up.
Yeah, because our months on our
Days on market.
days on market have been. Well, I see. I'm always in Jim's world. Jim's world's pretty low.
Less than 30 days.
Yeah.
I think we're probably at like a 45 days.
On the average for the
for days on
marketplace.
market.
Yeah, I'm
Hold
always
on.
in Jim's
I'm
world.
trying to look for something else. I'll get to that in a second. Okay. Let me go here first. I want to go into days on market just because median time to contract. Right now we're at 38 days.
Oh, that's MTTC.
Median time to contract. Yeah. 38 days.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. I
Nice.
can't believe you said it that way. It really hasn't changed a lot. That's why I never bring it up. The low has been 21 days in the last year, and the high's been 39. So we're at 38 right now. So we're on the higher end of the
Okay.
median time to sale. But pending sales, hold on. New listings. I'm looking at inventory. Okay. No months of inventory. Okay. We got down as low as 0.8 months of inventory at one point. It was in 2021 or 2022. And we've been going up pretty much since then. And we're at 4.4 months of inventory. That's the highest inventory we've had in like 4 years.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So it's starting to really grow.
Yeah, I can feel it.
But prices in Palm Beach County, this I got to ask you guys, maybe you guys saw this, but if you didn't, be honest if you didn't. What do you think the median sales price percentage-wise increased year over year from February this year to February last year. Now, just to give you a little hint, last year, the full inventory, the full appreciation for the county for single family homes was a little over 6%. I think it was 6.3 or 6.1% last year, right?
Well, didn't you just give us the answer we're looking for?
No, what that was for the whole year. That was for 2023.
Oh, okay, we're going
Now we're
February to
doing
February.
year over year. So what were the value? How much do we increase or decrease our median sales price from February of 2023 till this month?
Median for Palm Beach County.
For Palm Beach County single family home. And we know that last year, the full year was 6% for the year. What do you think the monthly change compared to a year ago was? Well, first, do you think it was an increase or decrease?
You said increase, so I'm thinking increase.
Okay.
I'm sticking with you on that.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
think
now how much increase?
4.
Oh, I was going to double that.
Go.
I was
Do
going
it.
to say 8.
Do it. Yeah.
6.
2.
11.9%.
I almost went to 10.
This
And it still
year,
would've been
this
short.
time last year, the median sales price in Palm Beach County for a single family home was $549,500. Last month, February 2024, $615,000.
Oh, wow.
An increase of $65,000 compared to a year ago this time.
I thought it had flattened
That
down a
is
little bit.
crazy town. Now, here's the other thing. Johnny was talking about sales.
And I remember saying, man, we're not going to have double-digit appreciation like anymore. We'll probably get back into the normal
3
4
to
to
5.
6.
Yeah, like something like that.
Almost 12%.
12%. Is that crazy? Now,
Jeez.
you know, just so you know, as the year progresses, I'm going to start saying, wait, some of this is BS. It's just fake numbers. But that is a startling number. I haven't seen 11.9 for year-over-year appreciation. in quite a time.
That's just the numbers. You can't fudge that, right?
No, you can't fudge it. But what can be fudged is like if you start at the beginning of the year of, let's say, 550, and then you get all the way to 615, and that looks really surprising. But then towards the end of the year, you're sliding back down, and let's say you end at 565, right? You only increase by 15,000 over the whole year, right? So we're only looking at a little snapshot right now. What's happened in this February compared to last February, and forgetting everything that happened in between, right? All you're doing is saying this time last year, this is what the house is worth. This time this year, this is what the house is worth.
Yeah, but that's, I guess, really all that's the.
No, but you say so 1 year later you had a 10% increase, but had you sold 6 months earlier, you could have had a 25% increase.
Or it could have been less. It could have been the other way too. It
Right,
could have been
right.
the other way.
Time in the market.
Right.
Stuff. Yes.
So here's the other thing that's interesting. When we got crazy sales in COVID, 2021-ish, we were selling a peak of 2,000 homes in Palm Beach County in 1 month, right? For single family homes. Last year, this time, we only sold 975. It was pretty shocking. We haven't increased that much. We only went up to 1,026. So there were only 1,000. Think about this. There were only 1,000 single family home sales in all of Palm Beach County last month.
That's crazy. And you said we're at just over 4 months of inventory right now, which is really crazy. Here's full speculation. I want all you guys to guess on this because it's only a guess. How quickly do we get back down to like under a month of inventory if Powell moves a full percentage point or something? Like it turns the faucet back on really quickly if we get low 5% or something. How quickly do we gobble that up?
I don't know, but I'll tell you what, if you're expecting something like that, you better be pre-approved and ready to rock and roll.
Well, and I think what's highlighting right now is we say it all the time. Know your numbers. Mike says it all the time. If you're waiting for something, know exactly what you're waiting for. If you're not totally, I hear, holy crap, it's a great time to buy a house in Palm Beach County. There's a lot of inventory out there right now. A lot of it may not be exactly what you're looking for, but this isn't even a year ago where you're like, man, there's just nothing out there. There's a ton of homes in Palm Beach County on the market.
There's choices out there.
Yeah,
it's certainly getting.
And going up.
I mean, it's not easy, right? It's still at certain price points. It's very difficult to find, and they're very competitive, right? At certain price points. And Johnny, your prediction, I wouldn't predict it to happen. Like they're not going to drop it by. You're not going to go from 6.5 to 5.5, and all of a sudden. But
speculatively, like it wouldn't take long, right? I mean, they'd gobble it up quickly.
If that happened, there would be some people who got in right when it happens, and prices haven't had a chance to go
Tick
up
up too
because
high,
of that.
right.
But if you're like a few weeks late on that, people who have been on the side, like people who are, wanting to sell for top dollar, they're ready to sell, they're trying to time it, they're going to be like, okay, now I just heard news is telling me it's a great time to sell your house.
Yeah.
And they're going to come on. They're going to come on.
By
like
the
that.
time by the time the regular media tells you what's going on, it's already happened. Right. That's why it's really good to listen to the show. I'm being very selfish right now, but it's good to listen to the show because we're trying to predict what's happening. And the difference is with the media reports is only what the National Association of Realtors, the certain groups want, how they promote it. The media doesn't go in and analyze what is being told to them. They just take it, use the stats because it's reputable groups, they think, and then they put it out there. But NAR spins things. They spin it to their benefit.
National Association of Realtors.
National Association of Realtors. So NAR their job is to be advocates for the industry. So they're always trying to sell you the idea that it's always a good time to buy, always a good time to sell.
Well, if it's good for you, it is. I mean, that's the fact.
There's truth to that, but
Right?
they make it like a blanket where it's good for everybody. We're more realistic where we say sometimes it's good for you, sometimes it's not. Sit down, let's talk, map out a plan, see if it's good.
Right.
We're dealing with a couple right now. I'm dealing with a couple right now. I was referred to it from another agent in a different area. And they're going to be working on the buyer side in a completely different part of the state. And they asked me to sell the property down here in Delray. The problem with that is not the problem, but in the process of going through that, they were very concerned about like what's happening in the market, like what they could sell their house for and what they can buy for. And as long as they price their unit right, they're not going to have any problem selling the unit, right? If they price it right.
Johnny knows all about that.
They'll make a decent profit. And they really wanted to know where they were going to live before they did this. So the buyer's agent has gone and shown them a whole bunch of different types of experiences: brand new townhome construction, resale, new single family home construction, communities with lots of amenities and HOA and higher HOA fees because they have tons and tons of amenities. Other ones that are a little more bare bones on the amenities with lower HOAs, but still new construction. After going out a bunch of times, now they know where they want to live. Now we have the plan. But what we told them was, and this is their big problem, they don't want to put the house on the market till they
know what's next.
And the problem that they're going to have with that, if they find the dream home, they're not going to be able to put the offer in, or it'll probably be rejected if their house is at least not on the market. And it's even better if it's under contract. Right. But if it isn't even on the market, can you imagine if I go to you, Johnny, and go, hey, Johnny, I'd love to buy your house. This is what I'd like to give you, but you got to wait for me to sell my house. And by the way, we don't have it on the market yet.
It's coming though.
Right, but it's coming on the market. So just take my offer now. Just
and talk to our
Johnny.
guy. He knows what he's doing. He'll tell us how long it's going to take to sell. But I would say that with the days on market getting a little bit longer, the inventory increasing, you have a better chance than you did if it was like 2 months of inventory.
And
right?
especially because, the reason why is what happens if the seller needs time to find their home, then that's a perfect match in a way.
Yeah.
Because that way it's like, I'll give you the time you need to find your house if you give me time to sell my house, and then it works out perfectly.
Beautiful.
But if you don't know your numbers and you're not ready to go, if you don't even have your mortgage lined up yet, how are you going to tell Johnny, hey, take my offer? I don't even have my house on the market. And by the way, I don't know how all this is going to look financially. It just isn't a good plan. You got to know your numbers and have the plan. And you don't have to just pull the trigger just because you know your numbers. You wait for the right opportunity that gets you excited, and then you do it. But don't do this. You want to do it. You're going to go, I know. I'm going to wait for the mortgage information later. Then you find the dream home. Then we want to turn in the offer. Then you run into Mike or somebody else to try to get the loan. By the time you go through those hoops, let's say that you have some things you didn't expect to deal with, and it's too late. The house is gone if it's a good property.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, you just don't know what you don't know.
So you gotta
you don't want to be stuck like, oh, I finally talked to Mike, and we got something we need to think about.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you got to know your numbers. Now, here's another thing. Median percent of original list price. This is another good thing for buyers compared to before. Remember when median list price used to be 101%? which what meant was is the median offer was 1% higher than the list price.
Right.
That was crazy town, right?
Yes.
100%. Well, now we're at 94, right? So people are getting between 5% on average, they're getting 5 to 6% off the list price when they close, right? So that is changing in the buyer's side.
Okay.
So it's starting to slide a little bit to the buyer's
Well,
side.
the details in that are really, really important, though. Is it just, tough negotiations? There's just not a lot of offers, or are these concessions that are needed to get this done because repairs that have to be done in order to even get, to that next level for these people? I mean, the why is really, really important. And these older homes with a ton of deferred maintenance,
I think it's
the buyers are like, I'm not.
No, but it's all
eating
those
all
things,
this.
Donnie. But it's also, I think the tradition is you ask for, like more than you think you can get, and then
You
you're
work
willing
your
to
way
take
down,
a little
right?
bit less. I mean, that could just be that. Like, hey, I put it up at like my dream number, and maybe my dream's a little bit out of reach. And of course, Jim tries to counsel people like, here's what I think you could get at the tippy
I
top.
have a couple right now that have their house on the market with me so long, it's probably going to go expired. It's going to be my first expired listing in like 4 years.
Expired.
Right, an expired listing in 4 years, right? This is
Terrible.
crazy town. And why? They won't show the property. I've had I think the last 7 showings, they've canceled every single one of them.
That doesn't count then.
Right. And then you mean as far as an expired listing, they're so uncooperative.
It's like not
and
even
then,
a real listing.
Yeah.
And then I've explained to them of ways they can make their house look more enticing. But what difference does it make if, to buyers, but what difference does it make if you're not going to show the property?
I'm done.
Right.
It's
It's like,
time
why
to
did
bring
you
in the
hire
fixer,
me?
Jim.
Why did you hire me?
You need to have somebody in the wings who you can bring in that situation who can convince them.
Oh, you mean so like a bent nose guy?
Yeah, yeah.
Little muscle.
Like
You're
that.
gonna
As they
come
say,
over
a little
there.
muscle.
Yeah,
I
need
was
some
thinking more
muscle.
on like the beauty side, the persuasive side. I don't know, but yeah,
Both
something.
work. Both
Yeah,
work.
Right?
Name
Yeah.
usually
I
ends
was
in a
just-
vowel.
I was
type
just
thing.
watching a history of
cooler.
Las Vegas
CCI.
show yesterday. Maybe I can get some of those goons to come over there. But yeah, it's just crazy town. Some people, and the funny part is, you know what their response to me was? I don't want to reduce my price or anything because I don't want to lose any equity. And I go, well, then let's just put your house on the market for $1 million. And they're like, what?
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, well, what difference does it make? The number you have it on or $1 million, it's the same thing. You're going to get the same results. So let's just put it on for $1 million. And they were like, what? Right. And I'm like, you guys aren't being realistic. Right. So what their argument is, we don't want to lose equity because the market's slowing down. And I'm like, we just had in Palm Beach County 11% year over year growth in single family homes. St. Lucie County is similar.
And you had 7 people that
So-
were potentially buyers.
Yeah.
That-
And so, there's a lot of people that are unrealistic in today's market. So that's part of the reason why we have that 94% instead of 101%, because they were priced too high. And then the ones that have to sell,
But aren't you
they
at like
finally get realistic.
98 or 99%?
I was in the 98% for a very long time, but there were a couple of houses that had very serious repairs, and we went for the whole enchilada, and then we had to have major price drops because we just couldn't work it.
Right.
So
Major
I
repairs,
went
though.
for it, and then
Yeah.
I didn't get it, so that messed up my stats a little bit. But I was trying to do the right thing for the customers, so I
course.
don't care if my stats go down; it's for the customers.
That's right.
Hasn't demand gone down a little bit too?
Well,
mean, that-
demand,
that
I'm
will-
reading about that there's applications went up like 10% in the last couple of weeks.
Oh, why?
I think that because there's a lot of buyers sitting on the sideline that really want to buy and need to buy, and they've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and they finally just said, this isn't going to get any better. I might as well just jump into the market now. That's
Good.
what I think is happening.
Well,
What do you think,
I'm
Mike?
not. I don't know what they mean when they say application, because there's typically your pre-approval leads out the application, so you're actually shopping before you're in the official application, right? Because once we have an address, that's when your application can be completed.
Oh, I thought
yeah.
applications meant
So
that
I-
you're just applying for a loan to
So
see if they
I
can
think-
get a loan.
I think it depends. It
Ah,
depends on how the
okay.
internal process of the specific lender. So I don't know when they say application whether that means they're in contract
Mhm,
and the official loan app is beginning, or they have an address, or it's pre-approval.
mhm.
So
But
you know-
again, based on inventory in Palm Beach County, a really desirable area of South
But
Florida, I would
here-
say.
here-
and I think the
Probably
point is
see
like
more.
if I have buyers out there that are pre-approved and shopping, technically they're not a mortgage application until they've identified the property.
Until they find
Yeah,
the property.
Right.
So
Now
they could have been
here's another very surprising statistic. Last year, at this time for single family homes, Palm Beach County, there were 4,000 homes in inventory, meaning active on market. Now there's 5,000. So that's a 26.1% increase from February of last year, the amount of inventory to this year. So that means that there's 25% more homes available for you to choose from when you're a buyer. So there are more choices for the buyers, and the sellers are, the statistics are showing the prices. They're willing to work with you on the price a little bit compared to a year and a half ago.
Yep.
So buyers that are like really downtrodden and just feel like they're beaten up, we feel your pain. We get it. But it isn't as bad as you think it is, probably. It's probably much better than you think it is. So if you really want to buy and you're not sure what you want to do, please give us a call.
FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Know it, use it, love it, share it. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, your one-stop real estate shop. You got a hotline. You can call it 888-973-7828. You'll find it at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
So it's the market. Now, let me just go into, I want to, Jimmy, if you can get us at 10:30 to make sure we'll take the break at 10:30, because at 10, when at 10:30, I want to talk about something else after the break. But getting back to the stats again, I wanted to go over a couple of the other counties real quick, because I just focus on Palm Beach, and our signal goes way more than just Palm Beach County. So let me go over here. Hold on.
Remember, Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook and YouTube as well. We do live stream every Saturday when we're on the radio on both platforms there, and a ton of information to be had at both as well. Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook and YouTube.
In St. Lucie County, the median home price increased 5.4% year over year from February last year to this year. So way lower than Palm, which was like amazingly high. It was like, whoa. The median sales price in St. Lucie County for a single family home right now was $390,000. They have a list price, sold price to list price of 96.8%. So they're a little higher. The sellers are getting a little bit more of list price compared to Palm Beach County right now. Part of that is because the price is lower, so more people are flocking to St. Lucie County because the prices are cheaper there. So the sellers are getting a little stronger action up there so they can negotiate a little better. That's part of it. There were only 425 closed sales in St. Lucie County for single-family homes last year.
Oh.
Still a little better than the year before, because we were at 419 in February 2023.
So from 419 to 425?
Yeah, that's it. So we didn't have much of an increase. Now, the highest we had in the last year for sales was 566. So we're at 425. So that's a significant drop. It's, 15, 20% drop there. Now inventory in St. Lucie County, another super surprising statistic, 4.2 months of inventory. That's a big deal. And for St. Lucie County to see that their inventory is swelling, that's telling us that for several months, we've known that buyers have been very lacking. They haven't been flocking to go buy homes. That's why the inventory is increasing. Also, there's a lot more sellers that are starting to put their houses on the market. So I think that this trend is going to continue, that the inventory is going to continue to increase. I don't think it's going to slow down. I think it's going to stay steady or speed up. I don't want to say it's like going to go crazy.
Great news for buyers.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really good news for buyers.
Yes.
So those are all good things for buyers. Now let me just go into Broward just real quick, and then we'll take the break.
It is interesting though how it almost feels like it's the opposite. We're in a wacko, bizarro world, because with the inventory the way it is, it should be in a full seller market, but it feels
we're still under the 6 month.
Yeah, it feels like it's
neutral,
kind of slipping into much more of a buyer's market, even though our interest rates aren't favorable for buyers. It feels like it's just their market,
because you're comparing to a pretty strong seller's market,
right.
So this it's still a seller's market, but it's not as favorable for the sellers as it was.
It's almost like it's kind of for both. Like there's money to be made, equity for the sellers.
Yes.
And there's just a good positioning for buyers, even though the interest rates are a little higher than maybe they want, still pretty good collectively, historically. I laugh when I say it because so many people are just crossing a 6% interest rate, but it's a phenomenal rate still. But man, there's just a lot to choose from out there.
There is. And in Broward County, if you're a seller, a year ago in February, the median sales price was 560. This February, 625, 11.6 again. They also got 11.6 year over year increase in median sales price. Broward did, right? So Broward and Palm, very strong. Very unusual to see St. Lucie lagging compared to Broward and Palm. St. Lucie's usually stronger with these statistics because they have a lower price point, so more people flock there. But right now, Broward and Palm are doing pretty good. Now, here's another surprising statistic. Even though that we only sold, I'm going to wrap up with this. Even though we only sold 2 less homes in Broward County from February of last year compared to February this year, we sold 833 homes last year in February. This year in Broward, we sold 831. Listen to the volume dollar difference. Last year, those 833 homes were valued at $614 million. Okay. This year, 831 homes, $720 million, an increase of $106 million, even though they sold 2 less homes, right? So what is that telling us? The homes that are being sold are at a much higher price point, which gets me to we're changing demographics. The wealthy people are coming in and snapping up the homes at a much higher price point, and the middle-class people are trying to find a new place to live. That's what's kind of happening here. Some people aren't going to like this, what I'm saying, but it's true.
Why do we even have to talk about that?
Yeah, but it's true. And the months of inventory supply in Broward County, last year 2.8, this year 3.8. Not as high as Palm Beach County of 4.4, but we're seeing it go into more of bigger inventory. Jimmy, if you can, we're going to go ahead and take a break. And on the flip side, we're going to talk a whole half hour about the new settlement that you've been reading everywhere about the National Association of Realtors and how real estate commissions are going to change and how it affects buyers and sellers as we know right now.
4-minute reset. We'll get into that and more. If you want to join the conversation, you're welcome to 877-927-6969. If you're not comfortable on the radio, use FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Reach out to the entire team. Pros, there when you need them at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. That's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. We're back in 4 minutes. Florida Talk Real Estate. It's right here on Real Radio.
From the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios.
Have you been in an accident? Call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Real Radio 92.1 is WZZR West Palm Beach, an iHeartRadio station.
Listen on your free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good. Here's what's happening with the weather on Real Radio.
From the Gordon Partners Weather Center, have you or a loved one been injured through no fault of your own? Call 561-333-3333 or go to fortheinjured.com.
I'm CBS 12 meteorologist Charlotte Carl. It is breezy as you step outside the door today. Also, keep in mind those roads are still wet. We have an isolated chance for flooding throughout the area today as that front rolls through around midday. Temperatures still on the rise, forecasted to top out in the low 80s. Much more comfortable tomorrow with highs in the mid-70s.
This report is sponsored by Fresh from Florida. Meal planning is work, so let Fresh from Florida help. Learn what's in season, browse hundreds of recipes, and get tips from Chef Justin by visiting freshfromflorida.com. Eat healthier with Fresh from Florida. There's sunshine in every bite.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Komarinetz, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
This is Real Radio 92.1 and 101.7. Real talk for the Palm Beaches and the Treasure Coast. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
877-927-6969. That is toll free. We still got about 20 minutes remaining on this Saturday. If you want to jump into the conversation, do not hesitate. Jimothy will line you up, get you on the air. Won't you, my brother? Can I assume?
Absolutely 100%. Give us a call.
Perfect. You got Greek and Joe in the house today? Your locker room? Getting ready?
No Joe today. We got Mike sitting in. We're going to talk some college hoops. That's obviously the March Madness, the big thing right now.
Very nice.
Bracket busters. What's going on? Did you have Kentucky? Because I did.
Brutal. How far did you have going?
A little bit deeper. I don't have the bracket in front of me.
All
It's in
right.
the other room. But
As long as
yeah.
it didn't bust, like you were champ or Final Four or something.
No.
Yeah, that's nice. Good. Well, we'll all be listening. Locker room coming up here shortly. Always following Florida Talk Real Estate here on a Saturday. I'm your boy, Johnny C. We always have great guests, and I'm talking about our team members with Florida Talk Real Estate, like Ross Komarinetz, Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. That's where you'll find them. Hello, Ross.
Hello. Great. I always consider myself just kind
Great
of
guest. We found the headphones, by the way.
highly average.
Oh, no. You wear a tux, dude. Highly average doesn't get to rock a tux.
Looks pretty good, man.
We found your headphones, by the way, during the break.
Yeah.
I want to let everybody know that we were looking for headphones that
They were right where he left them.
They were mere
Right behind
inches from me.
right behind my computer.
Yeah.
You see them here?
I have two other sets of headphones in my bag if anybody needs it.
Thank you.
There's
Brandon.
plenty of headphones around here.
It was just a glorious moment during the break. There's my headphones.
Yeah.
Pair hanging up on the wall right there.
And what is it, Johnny?
Right
They're
behind
always in the last place you look.
That's
wow.
right.
Let's
Do you know
hope
why
so.
that is?
Because I found them.
Because you found them.
Yeah.
right?
Why would you keep looking?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
The galley likes your shirt, Ross.
Nice.
Nice shirt, Ross.
Yeah, I figured I'd, I was bummed we didn't have hair and makeup like we talked about. But
Class is joined up a little bit.
Oh, it's definitely classed up. Absolutely. Mike Rouse, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm, always classy as well.
Yeah, okay. I'll take that.
Super classy.
Keep it classy.
Absolutely. And Jimmy D. Hello, Jim DePaul.
Class of 95.
Good. I want to get into something that's kind of serious. People might be curious about this because it's been everywhere in the news. I mean, New York Times front page, multiple days, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, CNN, Fox News, just go on and on and on. Everybody's talking about this.
Everybody.
And it's really important because I think it is impacting whether people think it's a good time to buy or sell. Right?
Yeah,
Like it's part of that conversation.
It can be, yes. So this is very complicated. It's still moving. The target is still moving. This is not set in stone, but I can tell you what I know up to this point. I've done a lot of research and talked to a lot of big players in the industry and then listen to seminars from them and trying to figure out what's going on. So there are 3 lawsuits that have been going around for 4 years. What's so funny? What's so funny about that? What did I say?
You just said you were talking to a lot of players in the industry, and it popped into my head the Dave Chappelle, the player haters ball. Like it just came into my head. And I was like,
trigger
this market that commissions.
I am so bummed out that I never like connected with the David Chappelle era, and I really feel Dave Chappelle era, and I really feel like I missed out.
Oh, you can.
I almost want to go back. And
You
watch
can still
his
go
old-
watch those
his
2
old-
seasons, man. They stand up.
Was it only 2? He only was there for 2 seasons on Comedy Channel.
Yeah.
No,
Wow.
but start with his comedy special, Killing Them Softly.
Killing Them Softly.
Yeah,
Okay.
start with that.
Okay, because I do like the guy, but I never was involved when he was like super famous before he walked away, and I know he came back. But
Yeah, and if you like Dave, look at Neil Brennan stand up too.
Neil Brennan,
Yeah.
Because Neil does so much writing with Dave.
You know
was
how
co-creator
you're
of that
into
show.
music. I'm into
It's half
comedy.
Neil, half Dave.
I'm into comedy the way that you're into music. Like I like comedy the way you like music.
But you missed Dave Chappelle.
But I missed the whole Dave Chappelle
Interesting.
thing. I know it's
brilliant.
because of what was going on in my
Brilliant
life
comedy.
at that time.
That's like Johnny.
was
You
so
missed
busy.
the Beatles, right? The whole era. Who? Wait, who?
Unfortunately, I did.
Bach.
Was that
Yeah,
Oasis?
that's
Bach,
I
yeah.
missed Bach.
Wonderland, everybody.
About
Wonderland.
3 years I missed Bach.
So, but getting back to the National Association of Realtors thing. Okay, so there were 3 national lawsuits floating around, right? They're all arguing the same thing. And what they were arguing is that the National Association of Realtors, the multiple listing service, and big brokerages like Keller Williams and other big brokerages, that they all colluded together for years and years to screw over sellers by forcing sellers to offer a real estate commission to buyers, the buyer's agent, before they knew what the offer was going to be. Right. So you sat down with the listing, right? You were going to take listings like, Mike, I want to sell your property. And then we go over pricing and how I'm going to sell it. And then we would sit down in the listing agreement, the exclusive listing agreement. And in there, it says, what compensation, Mike, are you going to offer to me as the listing agent? And what are you going to offer to the buyer's agent? And it's in the contract that you fill out. Right. So it says, for example, let's say that you agreed to 6% commission total. I put in 6% in the listing agreement. And then it says, what are you going to offer of that 6% to the buyer's agent? Right.
Okay.
So normally it's historically it's been half of it goes to the buyer's, half goes to listing agent. Now it doesn't have to be that way. The listing agent could say, I'm taking 4, I'm offering 2, as long as the seller agrees. Right. But what they're saying now is that the sellers had shouldn't have been forced to offer a real estate commission to the buyer's agent because they don't know what the offer is going to be. What is the buyer going to turn in? So if the buyer turns in a low number, maybe I don't want to pay him a certain real estate commission to the buyer's agent because I'm making less money than I thought I was going to make.
Can't you
as,
just
seller.
reject the offer?
Absolutely, you can, because commissions are negotiable. But what the lawsuit said is that we never told anybody, the group of the 3, the realtors, the MLS, and the NAR, they never told the seller, hey, you don't have to offer anything if you don't want to. That was what the big lawsuit is.
And
so
as
what they
a
say,
late-
well, let me just try to continue a sec because it's complicated. So what they also tried to do is they basically said by forcing the sellers to offer a real estate commission to the buyer side is artificially raising the costs of homes. So the theory is, if you don't have the seller being forced to pay the buyer's agent, the prices of houses are automatically going to go down. That's not going to happen, guys. That is not the way this is going to work, but that's the way the theory was in the lawsuits. So
this sounds like our home prices may be inflated by 2.5 to 3%. That's crazy.
Well, not really, because I know, right? Right. We're looking at 11% appreciation, and they're worried about the 2.5% or the 3% that buyer's agents sometimes get. So here's the thing.
Who spearheaded this litigation? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Lawyers. Okay, just like mesothelioma or what anything else you want to think about. There was a cottage industry.
But there was a class action.
How did they fish for it, though? I never. Normally, a lot of class actions, I see the fishing. I don't even know how they fish for this one.
Well,
it's very easy, Johnny. You get a closing Alta statement. You're a seller of a home. You get the Alta, and you see how much money the real estate agents made, and you paid both of them, and you say, "Wow, I paid them a lot of money." And then you get enough people that have that reaction, and then you get a lawyer who maybe went through that scenario, and then they start talking, and then all of a sudden it's like, wait a second,
why are we paying?
Why do we have to pay the buyer's agent? And then you generate the narrative that we were forced to do that. But in reality, you really weren't forced, although it's certainly common knowledge. The layperson would say seller pays the commissions, right? That's actually, if they colluded to make that the industry standard, it worked because everyone would agree seller pays commissions on both sides. Like that's how it is. And
I thought it was well known everything was negotiable too.
This is the other part. It's maybe you're getting to this, Jim. I don't want to like step on what you were going to say, but it has always been negotiable. And I don't know that there was any collusion to make that the industry standard. It was probably, I don't know for sure, but I think it was like that before NAR, was a big player, and before MLS, I don't know.
Maggie from YouTube is saying, when I sold my house in Fort Lauderdale, we never were informed that the commission was optional or negotiable. It's automatically filled in, right? So that's where the problem came. Okay. So let me explain how I explain. Let me explain how I explain commissions when I sit down. And I've been doing this since 2012. Okay. So I've been doing this way before the standards were there. And commissions are negotiable. So here's the script I give.
Well, hold on real quick. I just want to set up the one part, Jimmy. You and Johnny as listing agents could be presenting me with the exact same document and then having a different explanation of what I'm signing.
Absolutely.
Right.
So so a lot of agents would steer. Obviously, real estate agents are trying to make the most money possible, just like any business enterprise. So they want to get the most money possible for the commissions from the seller. But you can't, but it's in a platform of what other people are paying in the neighborhood, right? So how I always did it was, and I still do it to this day, but now I'm going to have it in writing. Before it was just a script I gave, an explanation so that people understood what they were spending, right? But now I'm going to do it in writing, and I'm going to, the same thing I'm talking about right now, I'm putting it in writing.
They're going to sign it.
So what I always say is, look, in Florida, I don't know how it is in other states. I heard that like in Texas, there's caps on commissions, and other areas there might be caps. I heard in Colorado there's a cap
and don't care,
of max,
Florida.
a max right. commission for residential. But in Florida, we're the Wild Wild West, and that's what I said. So I say, Mike, if you get me to agree to sell your house for 0% commission, totally legal. And if I get you to convince you to sell the house with a 10% commission, which is ridiculous, totally legal, right? So it just depends on what you and I agree to do.
Okay.
And I also say that all commissions are negotiable, right? So you have to understand commissions are negotiable. It's part of the process. It's one of the terms in the thing. And that just because you're offering a certain commission, I always said that if you gave me a higher commission and we got into a problem on inspection or appraisal, or we're not getting the offer we wanted, you're disappointed on the price, if you give me that higher commission up front, I'll use some of that commission to negotiate to get your deal done and not cost you any more money than you've already agreed to pay by reducing commissions. So if a buyer's agent comes in and they're turning an offer that's too low, or negotiating repairs that are too much that we were expecting, one of the things I might do is say, look, we're going to try to get the buyer to come up in price, but we're also going to try to get the buyer's agent to agree to reduce their commission, and whatever they reduce their commission by, I'll reduce the commission equally. So everybody's taking a haircut here, and to me, that's the way it should work.
Using it as a tool on some of the tougher to get done deals, maybe less desirable homes, etc.
But what the lawyers were saying, the lawyers in the lawsuit were saying, is that the MLS requires a commission to be offered from the seller, or they're not allowed to put their property on the MLS, which is true. You have to offer at least one. Up to this point, the MLS requires you to at least offer at least $1 to the buyer's agent, at least something to the buyer's agent to put it on the MLS. The lawyer said that's collusion, right? So then the MLS said, we didn't require that. We didn't require that regulation. NAR required it. The National Association required us to make that a regulation to put it on the MLS, that somebody had to pay the buyer's agent, right? That had to be included as part of the MLS. NAR said, we never came up with that rule. We never came up with that rule. That was an MLS thing. MLS is like, that isn't our thing. Then the realtors are saying, the brokerages are saying, we're just doing what NAR and the MLS are requiring us to do as being members of that group. So nobody took full responsibility for any of this stuff that happened.
And the other part of it is, if you, by publishing the commission to the buyer side, potentially you're influencing whether the buyer's agent would even show your property to their clients, right? Or present the property as a.
Let's go into that script. There's another script. This is pre-lawsuit. So pre-lawsuit, what I used to tell people is, look, the real estate commission in the real world should not be this way, but it is this way. Commissions are a way to market your property to get buyer's agents to go to your property over other properties. Now, it shouldn't be that way. And I tell the sellers this, right? And I say, look, under state regulations and ethical considerations that we swear to as being part of the National Association of Realtors, which is basically a union.
This is your oath?
Yeah, basically, you have to say that you're going to show all properties that a buyer is qualified to see, regardless of the commission. You can't use the commission to determine if you're going to show a property to a buyer or not. So if they're offering a 1% commission and somebody else is offering a 3% commission, if you don't show them the 1%er and you're only showing the 3%er, you're, quote, steering the buyer to a more expensive situation.
But that's any industry.
Not illegal. But you're not allowed to do that as a realtor. You're not allowed to steer.
But as my realtor, when I was looking at homes, granted, you might show me some, but we went and saw all the homes that I said I wanted to go see.
Absolutely, because we do the right thing.
Right. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm like, hey, I want to go see that home. And my realtor goes, nah, we're not going to go look at that one. I'll be like, well, nah, I don't think you're my realtor anymore.
That's true. But most realtors.
What do you mean no,
But
son?
most
We're meeting at his
realtors,
house.
most realtors won't tell you. I shouldn't say most. What the fear is that realtors only look at the commission and they only want to show you properties that have the commission that they want, right? So that has been the problem, that they've always worried about steering. So how they want to fix this problem, now we're going to get to the lawsuit. So how are they trying to fix it? There were 3 lawsuits in 3 different states. They're all in like the breadbasket states, like Iowa and Kansas and Kentucky or stuff like that. They weren't any of the big states yet, right? Then the brokerages and all the national realtor groups are like, this is going to be crazy town. All these attorneys from all these different states are going to come in and they're going to start suing everybody in these class action lawsuits.
Sue everyone.
So they had 3 big lawsuits, and then all of a sudden the brokerages started settling. Remax, I think, was one of the first ones to sell. It's like, we're out. We're going to pay you damages. Keller Williams settled. Now, Keller Williams actually went to trial, right? They went to court. Gary Keller testified along with another bunch of bigwigs. They were on the stand for 2 days telling people why the reasoning behind this lawsuit is faulty and that this is actually a better system than what they're trying to create for the consumer is going to get screwed in the long run. You know what? They testified for like 2 days on the stand. It took the jury like 90 minutes to make a decision. They said, no way. They just threw it away and said, no way. We don't want the seller anymore to be responsible for the buyer's agent fee if they don't want to. So the MLS caved in. So now there's settlements. It never got to a judge or jury vote. They settled out of court with the DOJ. The DOJ was involved in some of this, Department of Justice. So what the groups have decided, like Keller Williams, they've agreed to pay $71 million in damages alone. That just Keller Williams is paying $71 million in damages if the settlement's approved. There's other groups. I think it's almost
damages.
It's almost like $800 million of damages the brokerages are going to pay.
So everybody, so
wait, 33% goes to the attorneys.
We got to call it something.
Right. So
shocker.
You had this class action lawsuit to get 2.5 to 3% of your
but it's
sales
not
price
going to
back?
be. But that isn't what's going to happen in real life.
Right, but I'm saying like that's what you sued for, to get 2.5 to 3%, like as a participant. But as a participant in that lawsuit,
in the class,
yes, that's what they're doing. Yes,
to get all of that, and not even because you're only going to get 2/3 of that.
The plaintiffs that filed said that you guys were colluding together and you charged me too much for this deal.
I could see if this is a big deal if when signing the contract, the seller said, "Do I have to pay a buyer commission?" And they said, "Yes, you do.
You must.
You absolutely have to."
Yeah. Well,
then I get it.
Yeah.
But like somebody in the millions of transactions that happen or that have happened had to have gone, "Do I have to pay?" Raise their hand and ask.
Well, here's the thing. Like all the articles you read, every article, the headline is no more 6% commission, no more 6% commission. There was never a 6% commission. It wasn't written in stone. It was kind of an industry standard because people used it. But let me tell you, when I started the show in 2012, we were charging 7%. Okay. And why were we charging 7%? I was selling my houses in 90 days when there was 5 years of inventory on the market.
Yeah.
So if you weren't a short sale, right? Well, if you were a short sale, I'd always ask the bank for 7% anyway, because sometimes the bank would give it to us because they were so desperate. But if you were a regular seller and you needed to sell in a reasonable amount of time, and there was 900, the average days on market in St. Lucie County was over 300. You know, right now it's 38 days on market.
Yeah.
It was over 300 when I started this show. So if you wanted to sell your house fast and you needed to sell your house, you needed a realtor that knew what they were doing.
And there was
had
also
a track record.
On the flip side of that, there are people that would do it for 2%. You know, like those.
Oh, the discount brokers.
Yeah, discount brokers would do it for less.
And they sat.
Right.
So
and they sat.
What do you want to do? You got to you pay for what you get.
So what I would say is I would say, look, give me 7%. I'm taking 3.5. I'm giving 3.5 to the other side, right? I'm going to give 3.5 to the other side. It's going to be incentive for those buyers agents to come to us, right? And you don't have to offer that. If they don't come in a number, we can negotiate it, but let's offer it and see what they come in with. And they worked for us. And my sellers were really happy, and they were happy to pay that money because the carry cost for waiting, for not knowing how long it's going to take to sell a house, they didn't have that problem with me. So what's going to happen, I know we only got 2 minutes, so we're going to be talking about this again next week or 1 minute. But one of the things that's happening is right now is they're saying that this is going to solve the problem. But I see a lot of problems for buyers that are going to be coming up, especially buyers that are on a budget. And we're going to talk about how this might affect everything next week.
All right.
Okay?
A cash budget.
Cash
Not
to
a payment
close.
budget. A
Cash to
How much
close.
money you need to have in your pocket to buy a house.
Sure.
This is gonna be interesting. There might be some substantial new standards kind of established.
They're predicting that a third of the realtors are going to disappear. We're at 1.5 million right now. They think there's going to be 500,000 realtors leaving, which is fine with me. See you later.
I feel like a
See ya.
seller
Bye-bye.
flat rate probably is just, probably in the future too.
It could be,
Or excuse me, a buyer side flat rate.
Well, that could happen
Like really easily in the future.
I've already figured it. Me and a couple of guys were thinking of some things like Zillow. What's going to happen to Zillow? They make all their money off of selling buyers leads. Those
Well,
buyers
we've
leads
always
are
wondered,
useless now.
We've always wondered how the hell they stay afloat.
Well, they might have a really great business model. They might be a brokerage now.
How about that?
Yeah. We'll talk about that next week.
We sure will. Great to have you with us every Saturday. Thank you very much for being along. Always remember, Florida Talk Real Estate is your .com, your one-stop real estate shop. You got access to the entire team. These are pros. You get them all at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, like Ross Komarinetz with Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. I hope you have a great weekend, my friend.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks for dressing up today.
Yes.
Really sharp.
Hot Ross.
Fantastic. You also get Mike Rao, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. Always great to have you. I hope you have an awesome weekend.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Ross, you're going to have to wear that again next week. They debut your camera.
To the dry cleaners it goes.
Oh yeah, I didn't get a
No,
new
you have
camera.
to dry clean that. That's
Yeah,
right.
dry cleaners it goes.
Yeah.
Jimmy D, that's Jim DePola with the Florida Home Pros team. Keller Williams Innovations, thank you for everything always, and we will see you next Saturday. I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you, Johnny. See you guys next week. Happy South Florida.
My man, Jimothy, you gonna stick around, promise?
Sure am. Yep.
right.
We're going to talk a little sports here. So
Excellent.
don't go anywhere.
Jimothy, you said Mike and Greek.
Mike and Greek are in the bullpen right now, waiting to for this to wrap up, and we'll get going and talking sports.
Beautiful. Locker room's coming up next. We'll be back at it next Saturday, 2 hours of infotainment, Florida Talk Real Estate style. And thank you very much. Share that information, by the way. I say use it, know it, love it, share it. Share it's important. You never know when people need pros. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com can change lives. Know it, use it, love it, share it. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. We'll see you next Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate right here on Real Radio.